Hey everyone, Adam with AeroWorks Productions, and today we're going to talk about the 3DR Solo, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So this was a very long anticipated and waited for quadcopter. They kept it under wraps for about 18 months. They did a great job doing that, and we didn't really hear about it until NAB 2015 this year, when we started to see some demo flights and some things like that. So everybody was real excited about it. Now when you compare this to the previous 3DR products, this is a huge leap over the DIY do-it-yourself kits that they had. Now we did have the Iris, we had the Iris Plus, there was some small issues with those. It's still a great platform, but this is leaps and bounds over where we started 5-6 years ago to the Iris to where we are now. So let's talk about the good things first. For one, Colin Gwynn stated this, and they talked about it on some other places, that they wanted this to be kind of like an Apple-esque product. They wanted it to be released that way. They wanted to kind of create the buzz and the excitement about it, and they did a great job doing that. Starting with the packaging. We've got great packaging, great retail package, looks great, even kind of supplements as a small case if you needed to. A lot of you aren't worried about the box, but just to go, talk about all the marketing in whole, they did go all out with the packaging. And the interior packaging, they actually include a small soft case. And for those of you who have gotten your Solo already, you know this. We're not going to do an unboxing. There's really not a whole lot to unbox. So let's focus on the copter itself. Now we know this was designed by the 3D Robotics team, and they departed from their Mexican factory, and this is now being produced in China. However, the fit, finish, and quality and the build quality of this is amazing. It's an excellent looking machine. All the products are top notch. Huge departure again from the DIY days and even the Iris days where we had loose wires going to the battery door and things you could snag on. This is a truly polished and finished product. Now let's talk about some of the downsides. We've had our demo model here for a week or two now. We've been test flying it. Flies great as advertised. But let's talk about some of the things we don't like. The first thing, really, a lot of the issues focus around the radio. As somebody that's been in RC for over 25 years, one of the things I always use on my radio is a neck strap. And this is probably the most overlooked and not used item in today's RC world when you talk about UAVs, drones, RC models, whatever you want to call them. This is probably one of the best items that you can have in your arsenal. For one, it gives you a place to securely attach your radio to so you don't drop it. The problem on the 3DR radio is where the strap connects, it's in a nice spot, nice and balanced, fits in your hand nice. But then you add this to it, the tablet. This is how we view our video. And all of a sudden, the radio becomes severely top-heavy and a little cumbersome. You almost feel like, oh, geez, at any time I could drop my tablet. Now, as long as you have two hands on there, it's fine. But you can see if I let go of it, it's falling over. So that's kind of a downside. I wish they would have done something different with the bracket up higher. The second thing we don't like with the radio is the finish on it. I wish they would have used more of a bead blasted flat black finish on here, because as you can see on the front of here, maybe you can't see, high gloss, several bad negative things about that. One, it shows every fingerprint. Two, it reflects a lot. You see your face in there when you're flying. They just could have done a little bit better. I know they were trying to give it kind of a high dollar look, and it's very nice. But again, that flat black or that matte finish would have been a lot better, more like what they have on the sides. It would have eliminated the need to always feel like you got to clean it, and the glare and reflection you get off of it when you're trying to fly is a little bit overwhelming. They did go for more of a PS2, PS3 style remote grip, which it does. Again, feels great in the hand until you put that big tablet on there. Not super crazy about the tilt lever. It may work for some. It's in a good spot, but we'll see how that works out when we get the gimbal. That leads us to the ugly. So this copter was really marketed as the smart drone, and it is. It does a lot of great things very easily using the one-touch items like Selfie and the Orbit and those things. Those are all one touch. You don't have to create a mission plan and download it and upload it. You just push the buttons and it does it. And it does it as advertised. The bad part is where this helicopter is really going to shine is when we get that 3-axis gimbal. Now we're going on mid-July here, and we still don't have a gimbal. We've seen it in videos. This copter really, it's okay with the for still pictures, but for video, it's pretty much worthless. You really need a gimbal on this helicopter. That brings up another question. In the app, which you control and connect with, and we'll go ahead and start this up here in just a second. Now I want to talk a little bit about the app used to control it. Some of the limitations you're going to find when you get this without the gimbal. One of the things we were sold on is that it has full GoPro integration. They work with GoPro. They came up with code, and the cable and all this was going to fully control the GoPro out of the box. Well, guess what? It doesn't. Until you get that gimbal. So right now what they do include is an HDMI out cable that gives you live video feed. When we got the demo, we were excited to try the on-screen recording and press the record button, and we thought we were going to have video recording. Well, no, it doesn't do that. You still have to, with the fixed mount, turn on your GoPro, start the start and stop button, record your video, and then stop it again when you're on the ground. Now, there is one other thing you can do. If you have it turned on, the app, like it shows here with the record button, will allow you to save the live image that's being the screenshot to your folder of pictures, your video folder. So, and I can actually show you that right now. All right, we went ahead and removed our props. We're indoors. We've got the Solo powered up. We've got the radio and iPad powered up. And you can see here we have a live shot. We have a live shot on the screen. Now, for those of you who thought that with the fixed mount you were going to be able to push this button right here and record, there's actually no recording going on right there. You'll notice there's no red light flashing. We're actually not recording with the GoPro. What we are doing is there's a little timer running here. We're actually capturing this screen right here. So you're capturing your GoPro numbers, what frame rate you're in. It's basically a screen capture mode of what is going on the tablet. So when you start and stop that using the red button, you're actually just saving an image to your photos and video file on your mobile device. There's nothing being stored on the actual GoPro. So to get the GoPro started to film and photograph with the GoPro, we actually have to have it powered up. Then we actually have to turn it on, get the red light recording. Excuse me, and now we can see in the upper top portion of the tablet here that the timer is actually rolling and we're actually recording. So until we get that gimbal, again, the full integration control, it's not there yet. So one more kind of downside with the app and the GoPro, we thought we'd be able to start and stop the video. Even with the fixed mount, you can't do that. You got to have the gimbal to do that for the full integration to that smart port on the back. So one downside, another thing that we don't really like. It's been mentioned on a couple other forums and on some of the other Facebook channels about the Wi-Fi connection that is used here. Now, one of the things you do have to do is there's no cable connecting your transmitter to the tablet, similar to how the Inspire works. This is all Wi-Fi, so you have a little Wi-Fi hotspot set up here, more like the Vision series was. And what you have to do is basically turn on your Wi-Fi and look for the Solo link. Now, what's going to pop up that first time is Solo _ and a serial number. That's going to be your Solo. The password, unfortunately, is all lowercase Solo link. So when you get yours, I highly recommend that you go in to the settings and go to your Solo and then go to Wi-Fi settings and go in here and change at minimum that Wi-Fi password. The last thing we want to do is have a whole bunch of Solos out there with people hacking into them and making them crash. So you can't even change the Wi-Fi name. I would suggest leaving it because it is part of your either your MAC address or your serial number. But change that password to something that's going to be more personal to you, and then save it. Now keep in mind that when you do this and you apply those settings, you're going to get a message on there that says wait 2 minutes for that for those changes to be applied. So you do need to wait that full 2 minutes. You're going to see the lights flash and some things. And when it reboots, you should be good to go. Now you will have to go back out to your Wi-Fi setting, reconnect to the Solo link, and then put in the new password because you've essentially overwritten the last one that you're connected to. So that's one thing I would recommend doing when you get it out of the box. Another big one, and this has been another hot topic on the forums, is calibrations. Now, we've even had some people say that the engineers say you don't need to calibrate it. Take it from somebody that's had a lot of experience with these. We sell these units. We sell all the different brands. These things were built in one part of the world. They were shipped to another part of the world. Then they were then shipped to you or to your Best Buy or wherever. They're kicked around. They're thrown around. They're vibrated around. They go from hot to cold, different temperatures. Inside of every modern UAV, drone, whatever you want to call them nowadays, is an IMU, internal measurement unit. This is the flight controller, the autopilot. And inside of there is a series of many different sensors, gyroscopes, magnetometers, accelerometers, etc. Those all get affected by all the things I just talked about. Extreme temperature changes, hot to cold, cold to hot, vibrations, everything that any one of those can affect that. So even though you turn it on the first time and it looks great, what's wrong with checking to make sure that everything is calibrated correctly? It's not going to hurt anything. You may not need to do it. Maybe yours was handled with kid gloves and brought to you on a foam blanket. But if you do want to do that, there's a couple things you can do. And one of them, it's all in the app here and it walks you right through it. You can do level calibration. And it tells you to remove the props. It tells you to set it on the table level and press continue. And then it walks you through it. It tells you to put it on the left side, on the right side, and you just simply tilt it over, gently lay it down, you push the next button and it goes through it. That at least that way you know that the internal measurement unit or the IMU or the autopilot is level and correct, and it knows what right side up is. Many people don't realize that are new to the hobby. You buy these things, they get kicked around, you take it out on that first flight, and one of the sensors is off, and it thinks that this is level. So what does it try and do to level? It tries to go back this way, and a lot of times the guys will take off, and it goes darting off, and they attribute that to a flyaway. That's not a flyaway, that's an improperly calibrated flight controller. So you have two things that need to be calibrated on most modern copters, and that is IMU, or the autopilot, and the compass calibration. So the autopilot inside is what keeps this thing stable and level and controls these motors and tells it which way to go to correct itself for wind and vibration and everything else. The second is the compass inside that tells it which way home is. So you have a GPS, but you need to know which way to get back to that location on the GPS because you need a compass. So again, using the app, there's two calibrations. There's level calibration and compass calibration. They're very self-explanatory. You touch the button, you hit continue, you walk through it, you're done. That is my best advice for a successful flight with any brand of copter, but specifically even the Solo. Again, there's not a whole lot of parts to it. You take it out of the box, you charge up the batteries, you put a battery in, fully charged, and it's indicated by the lights on the back. You put your props on. You take it outside and you fly it. Now I do recommend, again, do the compass calibration outside if you want, but do the level calibration on something that's level indoors. It's not going to be vibrated, away from metal objects. Leave the props off, do the calibrations, you're good to go. Take it out and you'll have successful flights. So that's about it for now. We'll do another review when we get that gimbal. We're looking forward to it. Again, and we're also looking forward to what other manufacturers come up with for accessories on the bottom. We were at the AUVSI show in Atlanta this year, and we know that FLIR has already been in talks with 3DR about making possibly a small FLIR camera that will mount right on the bottom module. So that's exciting. So stick around, stay tuned, like and subscribe, and leave a comment, and we'll see you soon. Thanks.